It takes about 2 days of full bloom before the petals will start to fall. For Kyoto, a good day to aim is, and the website that I use is, who am I? I'm the founder of YamaTrips with over 350,000 followers on Instagram, and I talk about travel tips in Japan. And this video will be structured in 4 parts. The first one will be the misconception that most people have about cherry blossom timing. The second will be some very important facts about cherry blossoms. The third will be the tools that you can use to track cherry blossom timing and locations. And finally, my favorite location. I'm gonna reveal some of my favorite locations that you can visit this year. First, I'm gonna talk about the misconception that most people have, and that is when cherry blossoms bloom. This shows how, the southern part of Japan, say Kyushu, it's March 25th, and then all the way to the top, Sapporo, April 30th. But in reality, this is not when it's blooming. This is actually, if you look at the bottom, it says cherry blossoms flowering forecast map shows dates of flowering, but not of full bloom. Usually, it takes 1 week from the budding, from whatever these forecasts tell you, before it actually is, full bloom. And then the full bloom lasts around 3 to 7 days. So even if you arrive, say 1 week later, or even like 10 days after the forecast, you'll still be fine. That's when you see the full bloom. One of my favorite moments with cherry blossoms is when you're walking down let's say you're right under a cherry blossom tree, and then you got the petals. It's like a blizzard. It's like a pink blizzard. I call it a pink blizzard. So pink blizzard happens when the wind, because in the spring, Japan gets the spring wind, right? And when we get the spring wind blows the petals down, right? And this happens usually 3 to, I want to say 5 to maybe sometimes 7 days after the full bloom, okay? And another phenomenon that I really, really love, right? I really love it, and I really love for you guys to be able to experience, is the pink carpet. This map right now, it says Tokyo is around March 25th. You want to add 10 days for the pink blizzard, so that'll bring you to what, like April 5th-ish, right? So April 5th is when you start to see like really beautiful, like that's when I would aim to visit Tokyo to see the city blizzards, okay? All right, next I'm gonna share with you some very interesting facts about cherry blossoms to help you better time your visit. So first of all, there are more than 600 types of cherry blossoms in Japan, but around 70 to 80% of them are the same type, and that is called Someyoshino cherry blossoms. So Someyoshino is the one that you see in parks, right? It's like pink, it's like light pink, right? And they all bloom around the same time. So you go to parks, you see all the cherry blossoms bloom together. They all look rather similar, right? That's because they were all planted around the same time for a purpose. They were planted around the late 1800s to early 1900s. This was the Meiji Restoration era of Japan, when Japan was looking for a new identity. So they were looking for a way to show their country's beauty. And cherry blossoms were discovered around Edo period. It's just like 1600s and so. Through a few hundred years, Japan decided cherry blossoms is the national symbol that we want to represent Japan. So the country planted millions of cherry blossom trees across Japan. There are over 1,000 cherry blossom viewing spots in Japan that are considered sightseeing destinations. So back then, the warlords or the emperor, they made a nationwide effort to plant Someyoshino cherry blossom trees all across Japan, which is why there are millions of cherry blossom trees in Japan right now, and they all bloom around the same time one of the characteristics of Somei Yoshino is that they bloom early because they're more sensitive to heat signatures. Now, one of my favorite species is called a Shidare Zakura. It's the weeping, it's like a weeping willow. It's like the weeping, like it comes down, right? Shidare means to slant down. And they're usually mid to late April. So if you come early, those ones won't be budding even. They'll be like pretty much barren at the time. So which is why I say if you want to be a little bit more patient, because the forecasts are looking only at Somei Yoshino trees and which bloom earliest, among the 600 species. Maybe not the earliest, but they're very early. It's better to be late, to come a little bit later than to come a bit earlier. Next, I'm going to show you guys the tools that I use to track cherry blossoms in Japan. And the website that I use is called Weather Navigator. Let's take a look. So Weather Navigator, they track all types of weather patterns in Japan. And this page is specifically for cherry blossoms. And I love it because it's got region selection. You can see all the way from Hokkaido to Kyushu. And if you combine all the spots, it has around 1,000 locations. So it covers pretty much the entire Japan. Let's say we go to Kagoshima, right? Kagoshima is the southernmost tip of Japan, the mainland Japan. And if you see here, it has a forecast first for the entire prefecture, and then it'll have for each parks and destinations. I think a good day to aim is the time when it's blizzarding. So maybe +3 to 5 days. Let's say +4 days. Okay. So in this case, Kagoshima as a whole is April 2nd versus +4, so April 6th. But if you look, this is what Kagoshima looks like. And this place has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 spots listed, and some of them will be earlier than others. For example, the ones near Kagoshima City, I'm assuming the ones near Kagoshima City, it's closer to sea level. So the higher you go, the colder, the cooler it gets. Meaning, if you look for these mountainous spots, then they'll likely be later. Let's look at Kyoto. To most people's surprise, right, most people think Kyoto begins quite early, but for here it says the full bloom date is April 4th. And there's a reason, because Kyoto is surrounded by mountains. It's completely surrounded by mountains. We call this landscape, we call it bonchi in Japanese. It's hot in the summer, cold in the winter. And so for March, it's still quite cold because it's transitioning from winter to summer, right? So on average, April 4th is the Kyoto's forecast. However, I think this is it's a very early estimate. I'm pretty sure most locations are going to be much later. Let's take a look. So yeah, Kyoto, as you can see, it's like two different sections, right? This is where most people visit Kyoto. It's a Kyoto city area. So I think for Kyoto, a good day to aim is around April, maybe 10th. So actually very interesting in Kyoto, the northern part is very mountainous. So if you look at this one, up here, Uji. So if you go to Uji is where they produce Uji matcha, it's like tea, green tea. It's one of those green tea locations, and it's up in the mountains. Look at that, April 20th. That's why I say most people, they get fooled by the initial estimate that shows a cherry blossom starting end of March, and they arrive end of March, not realizing that you're a few weeks early. I think Tokyo is around similar. It's maybe a little bit earlier than Kyoto, because most of Tokyo is actually on the sea level, right? So let's just show you a Kanto, Tokyo. Let's look at Tokyo. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a bit earlier. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty early, end of March. For now, I want to show you guys Tohoku. Tohoku, we go up north from Tokyo. And let's look at Yamagata. I love Yamagata. It's one of my favorite prefectures. And take a look. Expected full bloom date, April 17th. That's right, April 17th. It's the latter half of April. That means it starts to full bloom there. The best time is maybe April 20th, 21st, right? So you come in late April, right? You come in later in April, Tohoku is great. Tohoku is perfect. That's where you should be going, right? And you have lots of options here. Honestly, cherry blossoms are everywhere in Japan, so they're not just in the cities, they're everywhere, every prefecture. Now, finally, we end up in Hokkaido. All right, Hokkaido is, there you have it, May. Hokkaido is May. And I think this May, early May is the city, so if you go to Sapporo at early May, so Hakodate is the lower part, it's the lowest part of Hokkaido, so it's the earliest. It's the beginning of May 3rd. But then, if you go, say, let's say around Sapporo, this Sapporo area, Maruyama Park, April 5th, right? And then there's like April 7th, Obihiro, Otaru, April 12th. Otaru is very cold, right? It's like a port town. It's very cold by the water. Yeah, it's like this is like mid-April, mid-March. Mid-May, crazy. So this is a great website. Take a look at this website, and they update it quite frequently. It says here, the flowering meter shows the flowering status as of the previous day, and it's updated every day 9 a.m. It's great. There's someone there to update it every day at 9 a.m. So you have the latest information. This is a website you want to go on. So let me give you guys a quick summary of the regions and when they bloom. So Okinawa Islands, they bloom as early as the first half of January. Kyoto in general blooms a bit later than Tokyo because it's surrounded by mountains. We call this geography Bonchi. In the summer, it's very warm, but in the winter, it's very cold. All right, so as you move north, say if you're visiting mid to late April, go to places above Tokyo because it's colder up there. It's quite mountainous, or actually Nagano has very late blooms as well because Nagano has 3,000 meter mountains. Those are the Japan Alps. So all the way to Hokkaido, that's where you'll see the May blossoms. All right, finally, I'm gonna show you some of my favorite locations to see cherry blossoms. Now, I've been living in Tokyo for the past 7 years, almost 8 years, soon to be 8 years. And there's so many locations, but every place I go, there's just so many people. And the one location that I haven't found it to be completely super packed, Koishikawa Botanical Park. It's right in the middle, actually. It's really close to the middle of Tokyo, but because it's not beside any major station, it's not by any of the JR stations, right? So most people don't know about it, right? And to access it, you do have to walk a little bit. But it's in this very beautiful area called, it's called Bunkyo Ward. And Bunkyo Ward, it's one of my favorite places to live in because there's not too much to do at night. I don't like nightlife, so most of the time, like if you're in Bunkyo at night, it's very quiet. It's a very quiet neighborhood, great for families. Bunkyo has this very beautiful, well-kept botanical garden with lots of history. It's called Koishikawa Botanical Park. There's a lot of cherry blossoms there. Not too many tourists. I'm not sure after this video there might be too many tourists. Anyways, so don't all go there. All right, just some of you. I only want some of you going there. Relatively close to Tokyo and quite accessible. That gives me that feeling is Yamanashi. And even within Yamanashi, there's two separate areas. One is the mountainous areas of Yamanashi. Not the mountains, Yamanashi is all mountains. The main cities of Yamanashi. Right, around there, you have lots of mountains all around it. And up in the mountains, you got all kinds of cherry blossom trees and even parks. Some of the parks, the parks in Yamanashi are huge because they have so much more land, right? And there's this one specific park that I really love. It's called Fuefukigawa Park. If you visit April, I want to say early April all the way to even late April, you might still be able to see it. But you get cherry blossom trees. You don't have nearly as many people around. And at the same time, when you look down when you look down into the city, you see the peach trees. So Yamanashi, if you visit in April, Yamanashi has lots of fruits, and one of the fruits that they grow is peaches, right? And peach trees, they blossom, like very vivid pink blossoms early April. So if you visit in Yamanashi in April, not only will you be able to see cherry blossom trees, but you'll also be able to see the peach trees, and it's so beautiful. The entire city, the entire mountainside, it's all pink. All right, so that's one location that I recommend. The second location is the areas around Mount Fuji. Now, there are so many lakes. There's like 5 main lakes, but there's also smaller lakes. And usually around these lakes, you have cherry blossom trees blossoming. All right, so just the most accessible lake is called Lake Kawaguchiko. You've probably seen photos of Lake Kawaguchiko, the cherry blossoms. Then you got the Mount Fuji in the back. Another one, Lake Yamanaka. This is also quite accessible, but there's also smaller lakes around that are harder to access. You can only access if you have, say, like a car. But pretty much all these lakes, I can't recall one lake that doesn't have any cherry blossoms, because like cherry blossoms, those trees are native to Japan, so they're pretty much just everywhere, right? Maybe one particular location that's also really beautiful, and it's called Shibireko. So for Shibireko, it's a little bit higher in altitude. Last year I was there I was there like 5-6 times, but I missed the cherry blossoms last year. So maybe this year I'll try to see the cherry blossoms. But it's really beautiful. It's like one small lake. You can swim there. It was featured in Laid Back Camping, and it blossoms around. They said last year it was like April 20th or something like that, around there. Another location. This is one specific temple that you can stay. It's called Bogetsuan. So Bogetsuan is, if you just type in Bogetsuan, 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 it means temple. Yeah. Anyways, it's a temple in Yamanashi that you can stay for like a temple stay experience. And within that temple, there's beautiful, beautiful cherry blossoms. And actually, a lot of temples and shrines, they have cherry blossoms around them. So one of my favorite, combo with cherry blossoms are the shrines and temples. Because I used to live around Osaka for 5 years. I was in this place called Nishinomiya. It's in between Osaka and Kobe. Right in the middle, a place called Nishinomiya. And there is a river called Shikugawa River. I was there for how many years? I was there for like 5 years as a kid, living in Shikugawa. I was attending elementary school, early to mid-April. It's like the best time. Yeah. Now, to be honest, there are just so many spots. I can't, those are just a few of the list. Let me provide you with a golden rule, something that you can refer to, I can just remember, right? So when you see the cherry blossom forecast map, right? When you see the cherry blossom forecast map, chances are it's gonna say these are the dates for the start of the bloom, right? So you wanna wait 1 week, right? Plus 7 days to see the full bloom. So plus 7 days, that's when you get the full bloom. Plus 10 days, right? Plus 10 days is when it starts when the petals starts to come off, you get the pink blizzard effect, right? So I would aim for the 10 days, right? That's when I would aim to go see them. Now 2 weeks, so plus 14 days, that's when you get the pink carpet. Usually after full bloom, it takes about 1 week before the petals all fall. And around that time, you have like a carpet of pink. It's really beautiful. So yeah, that's my golden rule. There's also a app you can download. It's called Sakura Navi app. And that one, it's got the real-time alerts. Anyways, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends or family who's going to be visiting Japan or who wants to see cherry blossoms in the future. please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new updates. Anyways, thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next episode.